Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm here with a very chill video. I actually filmed this yesterday, but the quality was really bad and I'm taking advantage of my lunch break to film this. So today I'm going to recommend to you 3 memoirs. I would like to read more in this style because these 3 memoirs that I'm going to show you are all about struggling with mental health, and I'm really interested in the subject, but I'm open to anything. So if you have been watching my videos for some time and you sort of know what sort of books I like, if you can think of a memoir that I should read, please let me know. I'm going to start with my favorite. I got this book the summer before I started university, so I want to say 2009, but I'm not sure anymore. But I think it was in 2009, and I got this book because I watched the film accidentally, and then I looked it up online and I saw that there was a book, so I wanted to get the book. This was before I try buying books online, because at the time I was really like, I don't want to buy books online unless someone buys it for me, because I'm scared that I'm going to get scammed and I'm going to lose money. So I couldn't find an English copy. I ended up buying the Portuguese translation, which is actually good. So I was quite surprised and really enjoyed it. And that book is Prozac Nation by Elizabeth Herzl. So this is about Elizabeth's life and childhood. She struggled with her mental health since she was 10 years old, in part due to her parents' divorce. It was a really traumatic experience. She had to deal with self-loathing, self-mutilation, drug abuse, alcohol, and all that. And there's a lot here about her first year at university. She studied at Harvard. She was on a journalism scholarship, I believe. And I really connected with this book, not because we had similar issues. I was also struggling with my mental health before I started university, and even during the first couple of years of university. I can't say that my issues are somehow similar to hers. With the exception of divorce, which only happened in my family a couple of years after, I was dealing more with anxiety, self-loathing, not feeling like I was good enough, not understanding what I was doing here, but never to this extent. So, but even so, I felt a connection with her. I know that she's a controversial author. I believe she has another book, but I've never seen it. I haven't read it or anything like that. I know that she has some controversial opinions and not a lot of people agree with her or like her. But when I think about Elizabeth Herzl, I think about her here, Prozac Nation, someone who helped me realize that, if she was going through so much more, and she came out on top and, she survived and she found her place, then I could too. When I reread it a couple of years ago, that connection was really, really evident. It didn't change my perspective. I still think that my 18-year-old self was right to connect with Elizabeth Herzl in a way that, it helped me realize that even though my problems and my struggles were valid, I could also take from this testimony that someone with going through a lot more, she was able to process them and get healthy. Obviously, Elizabeth struggled with a lot, and she was not always open to treatment, and that was also a wake-up call for me. So yeah, this is my first and favorite memoir of the 3 and it is one that I recommend. I actually like the film a lot with Christina Ricci. I do miss a couple of things that are featured in the book, but they're not in the film, and I think there are really nice and powerful passages, but obviously we can't expect the film to have everything that we want. But yeah, the film is pretty good, but I would recommend the book first and then watch the film and let me know what you think. The second memoir that I have here, I also accidentally watched the film first. it was on TV, and I was just, it got my attention, and I was just watching it, and then, oh, there's a book. And I actually read this when I was about 20, I believe, and I'm pretty sure that I read this either in 2012 or 2013, because I remember that I was studying in England at the time as an Erasmus student, and I came back home for Christmas and Easter break. So I'm not sure if I read this during Christmas or Easter, but it was between 2012 2013, and that's Girl Interrupted by Susanna Kaysen. I reread this 2 years ago for Booktubeathon and really enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it more the second time. With Prozac Nation, even though there are a lot of things missing, the film tries to follow the book. And with Girl Interrupted, that really doesn't happen. There are a lot of things in common, but in all fairness, sometimes it feels like we're talking about two different stories, similar but different. I really like the film, and I really like the book. I can't really choose one. Susanna's thoughts are here, and they work in a way that just gives you sort of context to what she's feeling, and it makes it a lot easier for you as a reader to put yourself, in her shoes and try to understand what she was feeling. And you can't really get that from the film. If you want to read the book first, I think that will give you a lot more context for the film. Can't really see the same character. Like Susanna from the book is completely different from Susanna in the film. So that's about it. I read this in like 2 days. Last time I read this in 2018, and I enjoyed it. Again, I enjoyed it a lot more the second time. I believe this has to do with age and experience, because when I read this Prozac Nation, when I read this one, I was 18, and then when I reread it, I was like 20 something. Same thing with this. I read it when I was 20, and then I reread it when I was 27. I think that age and experience has an impact on how you feel about the book, and I actually enjoyed these books a lot more the second time around. Even though I loved Prozac Nation the first time, I understood and I appreciated more the second time. I believe because now I could look at it from a different perspective. I think that because I was already like okay, and I accepted my anxiety issues, and now I know how to deal with them, it just made me change my perspective. So that's, I think, why I love the books more the second time. The third book that I have here to show you, it is also amazing, and I'm actually considering rereading it soon because, I don't know, I just really feel like it. But I don't know anyone who has read this book. Every time I mention this book, no one has read it, and that really bugs me because it is amazing. And if you like memoirs about struggling with mental health, then you should read this book because it is really cool. This book is set in 1967, or it starts in 1967, Girl Interrupted as well, and it follows a 16-year-old girl who is sent to a psychiatry hospital by her mother because she is, doing poorly at school. She has a problem with drug abuse and alcohol, and she is also unaware of what to do with her life. She doesn't really know. She's just existing. There's a lot of issues with anxiety and self-loathing, but they're not really, how should I put it? They're not really out there. So when you start reading this, you don't really know that she's dealing with that as well. It's not very obvious because she's not open to treatment. And then you just sort of create, again, you have a connection with this person if you're going through something similar. And that is Life Inside by Mindy Lewis. I really love this book. There are a lot of references to music and literature here that I just loved when I read it the first time. And yeah, it is set in an interesting time period. Again, the 60s. Teenagers from the 60s are very different from teenagers now. I didn't connect a whole lot with either of these two authors when I read the book for the first time, again, because I think that growing up in different time periods changes again the way you are going to connect with someone or not. But either way, I really, really enjoyed it. I actually read this book when I was 20 something, and we're talking about someone who is 15, 16 years old when the book starts, meaning that, again, because of maybe age and experience, I appreciated the book a lot more. I understood what she meant. I understood how she was feeling, and that really made me enjoy the book a lot more. And it is one that I recommend all the time to people who love memoirs about mental health and struggling with mental health, because this one is just, it is amazing, and it's just so vivid, and you actually spend quite a lot of time with this person, and you can actually see the progress of treatment and how she changes from time to time. But then again, none of these authors were open to treatment at first. And growing up, I think that when I reread Girl Interrupted and Prozac Nation, I understood that, being open to treatment or just asking for help is key. And I understand now why at first I was feeling really connected with Elizabeth Herschel, because I was also not really open to treatment. I never had treatment. I was never in a psychiatry hospital or anything like that, but having to deal with depression, I was not very keen on having to say it out loud, because it didn't seem like my issue was valid. I was not dealing with self-mutilation, never had problems like that. I never had problems with drug abuse or alcohol, so I never went through a traumatic experience. So in my case, I always thought, just having anxiety and sort of self-loathing because you don't think you're good enough just doesn't seem valid. But obviously it is, and you should always know that just because you think that your problems are not as important, they are, and you should always ask for help. This is also important now, because going through what the world is going through with coronavirus and having to be at home for, I don't know, are we going to be here for another 2 weeks, a month, 2? We don't know. This is going to affect a lot of people, and we need to be open to, ask for help, but at the same time, also read the signs. If you have someone who deals with anxiety and depression, this is the time for you to reach out to that person, even if you can't be there physically. Try to know how they're doing, because having to be at home and dealing with this uncertainty about the future, that was an issue for me. For years, I didn't know how to deal with the unpredictable. Even today, I deal with it a lot better, but I'm still the type of person who likes to organize and plan everything ahead, and I'm not that spontaneous because I'm always scared of what's going to happen if I don't plan things. I'm not the type of person that is going to call you and say, hey, let's catch a bus and go somewhere. No. So even though I'm doing a lot better with that, no, I can, I accept those issues, but I also know how to deal with them, meaning that I don't struggle that much anymore. That doesn't mean I'm not scared about what's going to happen, because we don't know what's going to happen now. I don't know what's going to happen in June, what's going to happen in July. Can we leave the house? Is it better just to stay in? And if you know someone who has these sort of issues, with depression and anxiety, being scared of the unpredictable future, just reach out to them, let them know you're there, because we're all going through this at the same time. We should be helping each other out and not just ignore each other because, my problems are not valid. Your problems are always valid. Don't think just because people have more issues than you that you don't have the right to feel the way that you do. It is important for you to be open to the possibility of having to ask someone for help. And, you need to help me out. You need to, I need to talk. I need to vent. I need a new, fresh perspective. And I need you to help me understand how I can change things around. So, yeah, keep that in mind and let me know down below if you have read any of these books. Which one is your favorite? Have you read Life Inside? Like, I'm really curious because I don't know anyone who has read this, and again, it really bugs me. If you would like to recommend any books, memoirs like these, feel free to do it. I will check them out. If you're not working from home, if you still have to leave the house every day, just protect yourself, protect everybody around you, follow the guidelines, and I really hope that you are well and hanging there, because we will get through this. I don't know when, but we will get through this. And let me know if you have any requests for videos or something, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!